Morning. Are you coming in then?
Good morning, and what a show we've got lined up for you today. Today's going to be another good one. We'll be chatting to All Saints star Shazney Lewis will be here. She's here talking about a brand new solo album, where she drops by the house very shortly. And I'll be joining some classic cooking from the legendary chef, Mr. Phil Howard will be back. And I was soaking up the food scene of Valencia on another one of my Spanish food adventures. Alicia Vasey will be back at the house as well. She's dropping by with some free food. She can forage for yourselves at the great British countryside this weekend. And with summer fast approaching, I'll be giving you an essential masterclass in the art of barbecuing fish and shellfish. And that's not all, because I've been joined by a good friend of mine who, over the years, has served up some sensational recipes for us on Saturday mornings. It's the brilliant Lisa Goodwin-Allen.
Oh, thank you very much.
Great to have you back as well.
Love it.
And
Absolutely
what's on the menu for you today as well? What have you brought with you from Lancashire?
Well, I'm going to do a little honey and rhubarb panna cotta.
Dessert?
Yeah,
you
dessert.
don't often do desserts though,
No,
really,
I've never done a dessert on the show. And I thought, right, I'm going to do a dessert, and I love kind of that set panna cotta.
Right.
So I thought it'd be really nice to share. So
and
hopefully
is
like
it
it.
some fennel pollen you're going to put on?
Yeah, a little bit of fennel pollen on the top, just as
Okay.
something a little bit different.
Right.
I think, it's a great little recipe, but people can change it as well to their flavours.
That's pretty good. Great recipe
seasonal
from a
stuff.
great chef as well. But we're kicking things off today. I'm going to make a ham and cheese toastie. So we're going to crash down to earth from Michelin star food to a ham and cheese toastie, if that's all right. But we've got some amazing ingredients. And an amazing ingredients from a supplier in Telford that I'm going to chat to you very shortly about is this beautiful ham. So the first thing we can do is get our sauce on. So for this, I'm going to warm up the milk. So I've got some full-fat milk in there. And we're going to make a classic bechamel sauce. And you've done this old school. But I always think that if you try and cheat with this and don't do it old school, it doesn't taste as good. No. There's a reason for this. And there's a reason why this ham's so good. It's because it's old school recipes,
That's
you see.
it.
So it's basically half an onion. Take a bay leaf and you stud it with some cloves. All right? So this is called an onion cloute. And you just stud it over the top like that. And then you use this to infuse in the milk. Now, whether you're doing a cheese sauce, plain white sauce, do this with every time you make a white sauce. Do this every time. The taste is unbelievable in it. And it's amazing just how these three ingredients change the flavour of a nice little white sauce. And you just let it infuse in the milk like that. Meanwhile, over here, my version of a cheese and ham toastie is we're going to invert this. So I'm not going to change the recipe too much. It's exactly the same ingredients, that kind of stuff. We're going to make cheese sauce, layers with cheese and ham and tomatoes and that kind of stuff. But rather than do slices, I'm going to basically hollow this out and then stuff it while it's still hot. And do a hot cheese and ham sandwich from the inside out.
Sounds naughty.
All right? So that'll be all right. So you're going to take this lovely piece of bread like that, and we're just going to cut a hole in the top. Now, the hole in the top, you don't want it too big. So don't just cut it in half like that. And we're going to take the bread and sort of hollow this out as well, and utilise the bread as well. You can let this dry out and use it for breadcrumbs, so we don't waste any of this. And with this, we're going to take the bread and just start to hollow this all out. And then I'm going to layer this with this amazing ham. Now, I know you've got your eye on this as well, particularly this big one over here, but we've got some amazing hams on here. And this is one of the great things. I remember as a young kid, there was a butcher's called Scott's, and anybody that's around York, down Petergate, there's this butcher called Scott's that's now no longer around. Sadly, it's gone. Demise of a lot of butchers over the years, isn't there, really? And because of that, you lose all the history with it as well. But my gran and my auntie used to queue outside of Scott's every Thursday when they got the pension. And I used to queue with them as a young kid, 5, 6 years old. And we used to queue up for a quarter of ham.
Yeah.
And we used to have a little pork pie for my granddad so he had it when he's home. But the ham was spectacular. And they used to produce this York ham. And I've never tasted it until this morning when I tasted this one as well that we got here. So we're going to find out more about where this ham is made. So we're going to head to Shropshire, not Yorkshire, to speak to Nikki Biddulph and Christy from Duke's Hill Ham. Welcome to the show, you two. Great to meet you.
And you too, James.
And you, James,
Now,
yes.
first of all, hopefully I'm doing this justice as well, because I know Lisa's very excited about tasting this. She's sat there just waiting to dive into this as well. So is the rest of the crew. So, Chris, tell me how the company started, because it's got an amazing history with this.
It has. It's got a really rich history that goes back a number of generations, goes back all the way to 1871. And it's like one family all the way through. So it's quite interesting. But there was a business that was founded called Marsh and Baxter back in 1871, and they were famous for their York ham. So, but it was actually based in Birmingham. And apparently, by the way, just going back to York ham, there were more York hams made in Birmingham in a day than there ever was in York in a year.
Come on, Chris, come on.
So unfortunately, I'm from York, and I remember Scots, and I'm just as proud as you are. But unfortunately, it's a ham that's been made elsewhere in Britain.
Was it really? So you've got the history of it, but it wasn't until recently where you actually, to go forward. I mean, there was an owner that turned it into an online business, which then rocketed for you. But at that particular time, there was that particular time where you actually, to go forward, you went backwards and looked at the old school way of making hams.
Yeah. So the founders of Marsh and Baxter, their family, the Marsh family, eventually bought the business. Because Marsh and Baxter in its day had the royal warrant for ham to King George V, and a guy called George Morley, who was a descendant of the Marshes, basically tried to reinvent what Marsh and Baxter had done with York ham, with Shropshire black ham, and with Wiltshire ham. So he did that in his cowshed on his farm in Shropshire, and invented this business called Ukes Hill, which is what it is today. And we're the last of the sort of genuine article using traditional recipe, and still doing it exactly how it was done back in the 1870s.
And so we're talking about moving on. Tell me how it's made then, because we've got somebody sat next to you that is a master at the craft in doing this.
Absolutely.
So you started at the business really young. I mean, you've been there a long, long time.
I have, James. Yeah, I've been here with 18 years now.
Yeah.
So I've been with the business since really in its early stages to where it is today. So I've gone through quite a lot of changes over the years. But yeah, I've been very privileged to work for this company for such a long time.
So tell me how it all works then. You're not going to give the secret away, but we've got these amazing hams in front of me. For anybody that doesn't know how ham starts off, particularly classic old school hams like we've got in front of us over here, first of all, what do you do, first of all? Because you've got on-site butchers, is that right?
We do. We have our on-site butchers. So basically, we have our legs that come in and they get butchered on site. We have 4 very skilled butchers and they debone and turn the ham from a bone-in to a boneless. And then for our Wiltshire ham, that's a wet cure. So that's immersed in brine for 3 or 4 days.
This is this one. We're going to taste this one. So I'll let you carry. So explain to us how this has been made while we're going to taste test this.
So it gets immersed in brine for 3 or 4 days. And then it gets put onto a rack and hung to dry for about 2 days. And then it gets steam cooked for 14 hours.
So tell me about these hams then, because when you taste ham, and this reminds me of a young kid, particularly this York ham, that it's not moist, it's not dry, but it is dry to a taste. It's not, a lot of the hams are injected, I'm assuming, with brine, and and you don't taste the actual product. This is the key to it, is it?
The dry cure is, the dry cure, they're covered in salt for three weeks. So so when they come in, we cover them over in salt for 3 weeks, and we change the salt every week, and then they get hung in the drying room for 2 weeks. So that's the drying process. So that's where you get like the moist and the dry sort of balance.
And different hams are different cures. Is that different? Some are wet cures, some are dry cures. We got some Wiltshire ham over here.
Wiltshire is our wet cure. So our Wiltshire ham is immersed in brine for 3 days, and then our dry cure is in salt for 3 weeks over a period of consecutive weeks. And the actual drying process, the curing process on a dry cure is about 6 months, so about 6 to 7 months.
Wow.
So we start curing our dry cure products beginning of the year, just prepare and ready for when we need to sell them towards the end of the year.
So how many hams have you got literally just drying at the moment? How many do you have all the time? Look at this. But how many you've got at the moment?
Well, that's our wet cure ham you have there, which is, and we've got about 600 at the moment,
right,
that we're processing. each week.
This is each week you're putting in.
Yeah,
You've got-
each week.
Look
Yeah,
at this.
Just a few then.
that's our wet cure.
Look at this.
And our dry cure, we've got about 200 a week that we've got in salt.
This is
Pure.
absolutely delicious.
You can really taste the difference between the dry and the wet cure.
The different types,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
when you walk around a supermarket, you see hams, you know, it's all the same. And when you see artisan hams been made, you can just taste the difference massively.
it, yeah.
You kindly say,
All of our product is all made by hand as well.
well, this is what I was going to. I mean, Chris, I mean that's the key to it, isn't it? Really, you say that it's the labour intensiveness of it as well. That's the key to it. But that's the end product. That's the whole reason why it tastes so good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a dedicated team that work hard all year, and basically everything is done by hand. That we don't cut corners, and we take a lot of pride in what we make. So we know that we're going to produce such a top quality ham at the end. So every stage is dealt with very important, and there's no corners that are cut. It's we literally do it to the.
So I'm taking it now. You're in your busy period, because your busy period now is 6 months down the line, ready for Christmas. Then is it?
Absolutely.
That's, I'm trying to do the maths while I'm cutting this tomato. Going, yeah, they're going to be really busy this week, this month. Yeah.
Get extra in.
Boxing Day, James, Boxing Day and ham is also, there's a great bit of tradition around obviously having ham on Boxing Day as part of your sort of Christmas celebrations. But the history behind that is that came about because it was the day off for the servants.
Right.
Wow.
And it meant that the family there was no one to cook because they'd given the servants a day off, given them a present in a box, hence Boxing Day. And ham was the centrepiece of that because it was cold cut, because the family could serve themselves and it didn't need cooking on the day.
Chris, if there was a mastermind in hams, I'm not going up against you, to be honest with you. Right, look, I just want to recap what we got going in here. So I've made my lovely little cheese sauce over here, which is our bechamel. I've added tons of cheese to this. And then this is where we still keep it warm. And I've hollowed out the piece of bread. And this is where we take our hams. And this is where, I mean, this is what I love doing as well. But you take this ham and you sort of layer it all up with ham and the cheese sauce. So you go a bit of that. You take some of our cheese sauce, pour that in. And you can see what's coming, can't you? You take a little bit more of the ham, and we keep layering this all up as well. Now, we have a wonderful lady on the show called Sam Head. She got really excited out of this. What is this? Because she's telling everybody all around the house. Tell everybody why this is so special.
Well, that's our stocking net that we cover our hams in.
Right.
So
You can have that.
It's a handbag.
It's
handbag.
it's actually called a ham bag. Is that right?
handbag, that's correct, yeah.
Right.
Cool.
And what do you do with it, and why is it so important?
Well, that's part of our packaging, really. It just keeps the ham nice, and once it's been packaged, it just keeps the ham looking, keeps the ham moist, and it keeps keeps everything clean and fresh, really.
And the biggest seller that you produce at the moment, is that Chris? Is that still going old school? Like, do you find that people's tastes are changing, going back to the old-fashioned style? Is that hopefully that's going to be the case? Is it?
The wet cures definitely sell better than the dry cures, but the York ham and the Shropshire Black, which are the dry cures, are the ones that are definitely the prestige products for us. They're the hero products that everybody wants for the reasons that you gave, which is what the people remember them from their childhoods, remember them from as traditional dry cured British hams. And look, if we were in Spain or Italy or France, we'd be absolutely shouting from the rooftops about these sorts of hams. There are raw hams from prosciutto di Parma and San Daniele and Iberico and everything that everyone now knows. But York ham was our equivalent as a country, as is Shropshire Black. So they're great hams that we should be very proud of, as for being British.
Well, hopefully, guys, I think I've done this justice. Well, I'm hopefully, because we got our sandwich over here, and this is where you can take this. And the great thing about this, you can actually allow this, if you wanted to cool right down, or you can pop it straight in the oven, or you can eat it like this. But this is where you get this sort of sandwich, and then we take our knife. Look at this. and chop this all up. Look at this. And then we turn that. And that is your hot, toasted ham and cheese sandwich from the inside out. Hopefully I've done that justice. Is that right?
Absolutely, James.
Good.
Amazing.
Well, thank you for being on the show as well. I wish you all the very best of luck with it. And now we know what a handbag is. There we go.
Thanks, James.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
James.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And I don't know how you're going to eat this, boss.
No.
But I thought,
might need a bit.
I just make it, but I'm just going to put that on there.
Oh, God. My God. I know
Anyway,
I'm northern.
see you in
but
about
come
half an
on.
hour. But there we go. Lisa will be cooking for us a little bit later. What are you going to be making?
Well,
You'll probably be asleep after this. But anyway,
A little rhubarb and honey panna cotta.
yeah, it's more refined than
bit
what that is.
smaller.
But anyway, there we go. And I'll be joined in the kitchen by Shazney Lewis from All Saints very shortly. But don't go anywhere, 'cause after the break, we're off to the Spanish coast for the latest leg of my food adventures. See you in a bit. Do you want a knife?
Yeah, I think so. Well, can I have a bigger knife,
No.
please?
Welcome back. Now we're teaching you the ins and outs of barbecuing fish in this week's masterclass, and singer Shazney Lewis will be tucking into a chicken truffle salad very shortly. Right, it's time to head off to Spain on another one of my food adventures. And this week we've made it to Valencia, where I'm taking a trip down memory lane at one of the city's finest tapas restaurants. I enjoyed it the first time round. Fast forward about 20 years, I've enjoyed it the second time round. Enjoy this. Now, I'm travelling up the east coast now to what is Spain's third largest city. And it's a place I've been before. It's beautiful. It's full of influences from all around the world. And that's Valencia. It's been around for a couple of thousand years, and it takes its influence and architecture from everywhere, from Art Nouveau to Gothic, Moorish, Spanish, Roman. The list goes on and on. Some of the finest ingredients come from this part of the world, and some of the most famous dishes. I think you're going to love it here. It's pretty special. Keeping to the Mediterranean coast, I've travelled up just over 100 kilometres to Valencia. Boasting wide sandy beaches and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this city is a marvel. It's a foodie's delight with an abundance of ingredients from land and sea. Valencia is the home of Spain's famous paella, after all, and the tapas is off the scale. So I'm ditching the car and I'm off to explore this incredible city on foot. There are restaurants aplenty all over the city, and they all look so tempting. But for my first stop, I'm craving a trip down memory lane. Now, about 2.5 miles out of the city centre is this place. And I came here 13, 14 years ago and had some of the best tapas I've ever had. And it's somewhere down here. Casa Montaña is a historic tavern in the heart of the Cabanel district, with a long gastronomic tradition stretching all the way back to when it first opened its doors in 1836. A favourite over the years with locals and celebrities alike, and I know why. I think this is in my top 10. Top 10. The style, atmosphere, the barrels, the tapas, it's all coming back to me now. It's not changed. I remember the menu. That's the menu on there. Hola.
Hi. Oh, no.
Hi.
What would you like to drink?
I like a nice white, whatever you recommend.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. So tell me about the menu then. I quite fancy some fish.
Okay.
I quite fancy some tuna.
We receive seafood every day from the market, from
Yeah.
La Lonja. the beans, which is the most traditional tapa that we have. The first one on the list.
Habas, I want some of those then.
Okay.
I'll have a bit of whatever you recommend.
Okay, perfect. I'll just bring
Thank you.
Thank you.
And this is the whole point, I think, about coming to a restaurant. And places such as this, is you let them order for you. I'll eat whatever you want. I'll drink whatever you want. This is one of those places I just know I can trust the staff to order for me.
Okay, Jim, so here we have the stewed broad beans.
Yeah.
This is very traditional. It's actually the first recipe that we have, and it was passed from owner to owner.
Okay.
And I will call the sous chef, Adrian, to explain you a little bit how we
I
make it.
need to know what's in this.
He knows, he knows.
Smell is unbelievable.
Hello
Jeff,
there. Hi.
hi there. Tell me what's in these.
What's in these? All right. Apart from the hydrated beans,
Yeah.
which we put in water for 2 days.
What type of beans have you got?
Michiron. It's called Michiron. It's a very, very special one.
Michiron, they're big,
Right,
eh?
They're big and dark, yes.
Okay.
And then we use some meat and then some herbs as well, right?
Okay.
Herbs like peppermint, bay, and then we cook them for like 2.5 hours.
And is the kitchen still as small as the last time I was here?
Maybe it's a little smaller. Because we put a new fridge, so it's even
Is it
smaller.
ready? I'm going to come and see it in a minute, but thank you.
Yeah, well,
thank
just,
you.
just joking. But yeah, it's still the same. Very, very
I'll
tiny.
come and see it in a minute. Thank
Good.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. What's really unusual with this, you mentioned the peppermint. That's the thing that, it's not the sweetness of that. It's not mint chopped chip ice cream. It's not that. But it is just delicious. You can taste the ham. The flavour of this is so good. It's the quality of the ingredients and attention to detail when it comes to their food that makes this place so memorable.
So, James, bring you another 2 iconic dishes.
Okay. Adrian wants me to try their marinated tuna and their baby squid.
I wish you like them.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just look at that for a plate of food. This tuna with the spices. The spices are right. It's the peppercorns, it's the cardamom, but it's the quality of the olive oil and the tuna. The olive oil is just spectacular. Wow, that's amazing. And then the squid, just simply cooked on the plancha. There's herbs, there's vinegar, there's sherry vinegar. It tasted the sea as well at the same time. This is really, really nice food. Another specialty here is pepito. It's essentially a hollowed-out, soft white bread roll filled with an amazing stew of tomatoes, peppers, pine nuts, garlic, and bluefin tuna, then fried. It's just brilliant. 14 years ago, it was the best tapas I've ever tasted. It's got better. After all that, I want to go behind the scenes to where they make all this amazing food. This is where all the action happens. You're still doing about 150 a day?
Yeah, maybe more. 160, 170.
170 covers a day here.
Yeah, every day.
2 of them. This is this amazing squid that I had earlier. And what is that, the powder? What is that, this?
This is a marine plankton.
Wow.
They harvest it from the sea.
You can buy it?
You can buy it, yes.
It's difficult to describe. It's like seaweed, but not. It's fish, it's sea, it's seaweed, it's everything, isn't it?
You don't know.
It's everything, it's everything.
Yeah.
It's really good. That place is amazing. If you're ever in Valencia, go visit it. You're going to need to take a taxi home, though. Chef Phil Howard will be cooking for us very shortly, and top forager Alicia Vasey is going to be dropping by the house a little later on this morning. But I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes when I'll be making a cracking chicken salad for singer Shazney Lewis. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, friend of the show, Lisa Goodwin Allen will be cooking for us a little bit later on. And top forager Alicia Vasey will be dropping by the house very shortly. I haven't got a clue what she's bringing, but it's going to be good. But first, I'm here with singer-songwriter who dominated the charts in the 90s and the noughties as she served up hit after hit after hit with the iconic band All Saints. It's the brilliant Shasley Lewis. Can we just say, we've never had so many people in this house for a guest than you. So welcome to the house as well.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I know you're a big foodie as well. We're going to get straight on and do the food because miso. So we're going to do this sort of miso chicken. You can probably smell it cooking in the oven. I'm just going to show you and show people what we're trying to do is we're trying to achieve that kind of stuff.
Wow.
But you get this miso glazed chicken, which is actually relatively straightforward to do, but it's all about the marinade, first of all. So I'm going to leave that to rest, first of all. The marinade that we've got in here is we've got some sake, we've got some mirin, we've got some sugar and white miso paste. And you just warm everything up, really. Right. That's all you do. Now, are you accomplished in the kitchen or not?
No, I'm not. I was going to lie, but
that was straight into
my
it.
My family are watching, so yeah, no.
Right.
I stick to what I know, and I'm good at what I can do. I'm good at seasoning. I love seasoning food, but I'm just not.
You're pretty handy at music as well, aren't you? Really, because it was falling in love with it as a young kid. Was your parents and stuff like that? Was it listening to music that drew you to it?
Yeah.
Was it playing an instrument? What was it?
Well, my parents used to play a lot of Bob Marley at home, and I remember they were the first records that I used to sing along to. And in terms of writing, when I was at primary school, our headmistress took over our English lesson, and she taught us poetry. And it was from that one lesson that I actually fell in love with writing.
But tell us about the band then, because we're going to play a little clip of All Saints in a minute, because you had this unique experience. You say that this once-in-a-lifetime moment, this happened to you in, was it Leicester Square?
Yeah.
This was, tell me about that, because then we'll set up where it went on from there.
So I went to a party with a friend of mine, and Ben from Curiosity Killed the Cat was DJing. And my friend, she was very ballsy. She went up to him and told him that I sang and that I wrote music. And he introduced us to his manager at the time, and they invited us down to their studio in West London, and that was where I met Mel and where All Saints was born. That's pretty much.
And am I right in thinking, before we play a little clip, I'm right in thinking, so this is the chicken. I'm just going to marinate this.
Yeah.
This goes in.
I know, I'm talking and watching. I'm trying to learn as well at the same time.
So, look, I'll shut up for a minute. Right, we basically boiled this up. You allow this to cool. I've got the marinator here. You keep some of it separate because we're going to utilise that for the dressing later on.
Right.
And then you take the chicken and you pop it in the marinade. Now, if you're doing the black and cod, you're looking for about 3 days. If you're doing the chicken, literally overnight, a couple of days. Immerse it in that. Brush it all off and then roast it in the oven and you end up with what that is. That's that one. So, but we're going to play a little clip now because, am I right in thinking, you guys, none of you really like the name All Saints?
So, when Melanie and I first formed the band, they asked, because obviously the studio was on All Saints Road, so they suggested the name All Saints, and at the time we didn't like it, so we thought to jazz it up a bit, we would add our the year we were born, which was 1975, so we called ourselves All Saints 1975. And but then once we obviously joined with the girls, later on we dropped the 1975.
And this is the fruits of all your labour. Just have a listen to this. This will bring back some memories.
Places to find a piece of something to call mine. A piece of something to call mine. Coming closer to you. Went along many moors, walked through many doors. The place where I wanna be is the place I can call mine. Is the place I can call mine. I'm coming, can you hear what I hear? It's calling you, my dear, out of reach. To my knee, I can hear it calling you. I'm coming out, drowning, swimming closer to you.
That brought back some memories, didn't it? I can see you looking at it. But you wrote... There was a great story with this. Didn't you write that on a plane to LA and then lost the lyrics.
I did, yeah. We
What
were on
was
our way
that
to,
like?
I know, frightening. We were on our way to LA to record it with William. So I started writing it on the flight and lost the lyrics. So I ended up spending, as soon as I got back, having to spend the next however many hours trying to remember it and rewriting it for the session.
Was it different from the one that you remember on the...
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit. But
And
I
then-
think there was enough to still remember to keep
It
on.
always fascinates me with bands because there's a group of individuals that have been brought together and you do this and then, what was you? It was overnight, but it was massive. Massive. All over the world, all over the globe, everything you ever wanted. And then to go off on your own. How was that for you, to go off? And because you're a great writer, we've seen that, we heard it.
Yeah, it was quite daunting because, I did enjoy the dynamic of being in a band. So it was quite daunting, but it was, I think, at that, even this time round, I think a lot of things are about timing because this time round feels so different to me going on my own, actually, 20 years ago, definitely.
Well, we're talking about this time round because, look, I'm just going to... It was right on cue, this, because all I've done is got some leeks.
I'm so impressed.
We're going to deep fry the leeks in there, and that's going to be a nice little salad with the spinach and everything else. So I'm just going to literally just do that because this is about your new album. So it's been 20 years.
20 years.
20-year gap between this and the last album from you.
Yeah.
Tell us about this one then, because I've got to say this is really cool. I particularly like the record anyway. I'm so glad it's come back onto vinyl.
Yeah,
'Cause look at that, that's proper snazzy.
Yeah.
Tell us about this, because you write every single track in this one as well.
Yeah, I worked with some fantastic people on this album. I worked with Michelangelo, Ant Whiting, Emily Phillips, Jez Ashurst, Ben Cullum, Johann Hugo, and I actually wrote the first song, actually, Missiles, was what sparked it all. I had a writing session with Moises dos Santos and Charlie Stacey. These are jazz boys. And we came up, at the end of the day, we ended up coming up with this melody, and I took it away and I sat on it for months. And then one day got it out and ended up writing Missiles to it. And the song excited me so much that I thought, I want to do a project.
Well, shall we see what 20-year wait has achieved?
Yeah.
Let's have a listen.
I will give you my heart each time, over and over again until I die. You can bet on a kiss of life. Count on me.
It is a great when and you can tell, you've grown with it as well.
Yeah.
That's the great thing. You're different to what you were in your 20s.
Yeah. I'm really glad that that this has happened, actually, because if I hadn't have done that one song, I probably wouldn't have known. Yeah.
Right, look, I've just got you a little salad over here. I'm going to finish it off. This is this amazing dressing. I know you love a little bit of truffle. So
do.
this is truffle oil, and this is amazing dressing, this. So it's tiny bit of truffle oil, because truffle oil is really strong.
Yeah.
A little bit of yuzu juice. You use some of this. This is miso. It's dried miso. You can actually buy it from the supermarket.
Okay.
Like you can get the paste one as well. And some extra virgin olive oil. And then we just mix that together, and you've got this amazing little dressing. And you add Parmesan cheese. So you got this umami flavour. You add crispy fried leeks. These are the deep fried leeks, but you cook the leeks at about 160 degrees because if they don't colour, otherwise they go a little bit too bitter. And we just mix this together, and this is what you get served with your lovely little bit of chicken that I've just put back in the oven to warm through. So you just take it out the marinade, and you put it back in the oven out of the marinade, and it wants to cook for, like I said, for about 20, 30 minutes, something like that. And then we can then grab a plate over here. There we go. And then we'll take our chicken out. and it goes like this mahogany sort of flavour and taste. And then you get the leftover bits of this dressing over the top. There we have it. And this then pops on here as well. There we go. So, and then you can then slice this. You can cut it all up if you want. But it changes the texture. A bit like I'm sure you had this sort of miso sort of stuff before.
I can smell it from here. It's great.
But it changes the texture of it as well. Sort of firms up the chicken a little bit. But it tastes really, really nice. And then a little bit of chicken on here. And you take this wonderful little salad with it, with the crispy fried leeks on there as well. And there we have it. You're going to stick around for the rest of the day as well. We're going to cook for you at the end of the show as well.
Wow.
But there you have it. My sort of blackened chicken with miso and a nice little bit of spinach and leek salad. Easy as that. There we have it. The finished dish. Tell me what you think.
Thank you very much.
Tell me what you think of that. I feel under pressure now, but there.
I feel really spoiled. Really
Well,
lucky.
yes,
This is
tell me what you
lovely.
think of the salad, the leeks and the
Actually, yeah,
dressing
let me
with
taste
everything
this on
else.
its own first.
I think you'll like this. If you like, this is amazing. I think you'll like that.
I love it.
Happy with that one? There we go. Right, I'll be laying on lunch of lamb a little bit later on in the show. I'll be cooking. There'll be more cooking on the way from Lisa Goodwin Allen, but join us again after the break when the brilliant chef Phil Howard will be treating us to one of his trademark recipes. I'll see you in a bit. Now, still to come, we've got a masterclass in barbecuing fish, and I'll be cooking some more for my guest, Shazney Lewis, a little bit later on in the show. But first, I'm here with Lisa, and we've got Alicia Vasey as well, because we're about to watch a dish from a chef who launched some of London's finest restaurants and has a career in some of the greatest restaurants anywhere in the world. It's the brilliant Mr. Phil Howard. Thank you. Wonderful to have you on the show. My chefs are super excited as well because this gentleman is God to a generation over here cooking. It's a pleasure to be cooking next to you.
very much.
What are you going to be doing then? What are we going to be doing?
I'm going to be doing springs, what I'm doing, and I'm doing things that I just love to eat, but it's really driven by the time of year. So we're going to do a broad bean hummus, served with a grilled grazie and a courgette, Jersey roll potato, bundle of green beans, dressed in a summer truffle
Seasoned
dressing.
on a plate as well,
Yeah,
really. You want me to
seasoned
get
on
on
a
and do
plate.
the dressing
Yeah,
as well?
yeah, absolutely.
So first of all, I knew you were going to start with. Are you going to start with the hummus first of all?
I'm going to start with the hummus, yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. So really, what we're going to do is all the broad beans.
So these have been double podded.
They've been double podded. Listen, that's just because, I don't know, that's just...
That's a nice job, Riley.
It's just because I had somebody else to double pod it.
Exactly.
And then enough chickpeas just to... It's really important. I think a hummus is not a puree. Now, quite often we try and make hummuses with different things and it ends up being a puree. You've got to have chickpeas in any hummus, even if it's another flavour, to give it that texture that you associate with a hummus, so that it's got that little bit of kind of... Well, it's a graininess. A bit of tahini in there. And then I'm just going to put a splash of that in there. And I'm just going to blend it
Garlic hummus.
into a hummus.
And you say you don't want to puree this to a black pulp.
Well, you can leave it big because it's got the chickpeas. The chickpeas will never go completely smooth. But it's very delicate, so you've got to make sure you get the seasoning in there too. Broad beans are it's a very delicate, lovely, subtle flavour. So we do need some seasoning.
Doing his
Not really
thing.
excited
But
about this.
I think
Look at colour.
that will... beautiful, look at that. Huh? Job done.
a spoon in
There's a
there.
spoon in there.
It's easy as that. Just that they're just that pre-soaked, pre-cooked chickpeas. Easy as that.
And pre-blanched and pre-podded broad beans. As we've already talked about.
But I get the feeling. I mean, what a career you've had. You started out life. It was not what you wanted. It was not your first thing anyway at university. Then decided you fell in love with food. You managed to work with some amazing people. The first one was the Roos. Was it that was the first big name that you worked with?
Well, basically, I had no training at all. I'd learned how to make, Nutloaf at university, and that was about it. You know, but so I came with very little. So, but the Roos gave me the first opportunity. They gave me my break, so to speak. Working for a contract catering, they used to do. The Roos were huge then. They were the pinnacle, and for a long time afterwards. But they were the top dogs at the time, and they had fingers in lots of pies, including big contract catering clients in the city. So that's where I started working at a bank, working in the basement, making sandwiches, and then I got my way up to the top where the directors were served their lunch. They got much, much better food, and I stayed there for a year. And it was really important. It was a really great starting point for what was to come. Army with the basic skills, but also just that classical training.
Because then you went on to have... Well, I know you wanted to... Let's talk about this first.
So this is basically... This is the Gretzina courgette, which is... It's only a courgette, but most courgettes you see in the supermarket are kind of mass-produced, and they're just a bit thin on flavour. Yeah. A Gretzina courgette is a heritage courgette.
I grow this in the garden.
And that's just been blanched, and then we're just going to warm it through and give it a little bit of flavour by blow-torching it. But really, that's just to give it... It just gives it a little bit of character.
That dressing's amazing, isn't it? With the parmesan and a little bit...
It's really good.
Really
parmesan and cheese and truffles is just.
But you can use too strong of this. It can be too lethal.
I mean, I think lots of places truffle oil is heinous, but there are some places where it does a job. It doesn't taste the same as black truffle, but it is what it is. I'm then just going to put these green beans in to cook.
So then I remember as a young chef training in London, and as a young 16, 17-year-old training in London, you had this amazing restaurant that everybody was raving about, and everybody still is raving about, but the Square. The Square. That was. What was that like? Because you were only young then as well.
I mean, I was 23 when we opened the Square, and
incredible restaurant.
It was an amazing place. It was 25 years of my life. You know, I opened it as a 23-year-old and sold it as a 50-year-old. You know, you change massively as a human being, as a cook, as a husband, as a chef, but in that time, we did... You know, we were really lucky. We worked really hard, 7 days a week for 25 years at that level. But we were also really lucky for that restaurant to fall in a time period in the evolution of food in this country. The Square fell at the point when the public had come alive and discovered food.
I remember it 16 years old. I just remember that there was that Nicola Dennis, the Toncle, but it was the Square.
Yeah, right? And so that was good luck. That was just fortuitous that we happened to do all that work at a time when people were really ripe for it, and there wasn't a lot else going on. So it was quite easy to shine, I would say.
A lot of work, that is. I'm not very modest while he's doing that.
Well, there is also some truth in it. But it was a great restaurant. You know, most of the restaurants that were kind of the two-star restaurants were much smaller. They were just a different kind of thing. The Square was the first place to do. We were doing 1,000 covers a week. And that the Manoir does that, but we were doing it with 7 in the kitchen rather than 27 in the kitchen. It was a one-off. Yeah. Nigel and I were absolutely determined to create a restaurant that was vibrant, that was buzzy, that was as good as we could possibly make it, but that still made money. And
it was iconic, and even the cookbooks to the day are still iconic as well. But then you've got... So tell us about Ellison Street, because you've moved on from that now, and you've almost... I love your food. I've loved it back from its Square, but it's the simplicity you've gone to now. So you've got Ellison Street, and you're doing this pasta chain as well. You're developing that.
It's I think as we get older, in the end, most things we enjoy simpler things. I do still love going to a big, fancy, serious, sophisticated restaurant, but on the whole, a roast chicken and a perfect salad is as good as it gets. Yeah. So in the end, Ellison Street kind of slightly recalibrated that, where I now cook things like this. I don't go home and pod raw beans or anything.
Right. So we've got the courgettes over here that we've done.
I'm just going to drain these green beans. Yeah. Green beans, I should have checked them one last time, but a green bean, it mustn't be squeaky. It's got to be a tender thing, a green bean for me. A little bit of a squeak there. But basically... This is all about eating some delicious,
and also what you're doing. This I've got to mention this because we get guests on the show. You've driven down. You kind of driven down as well. We get guys coming down on the train and everything else. You're the first person ever in 30 years of cooking on television. One of my guests and one of my chefs has ever arrived on a bike from London to here. You've cycled all the way from London, and you're cycling back after this.
It's about to get back on the bike and cycle
This is
back.
in training for something really, really special.
Well, there are two reasons. One is because I currently don't have a driving license.
So we're all slowing down.
And much more importantly, I'm doing a massive bike ride this summer to raise money for Cure Leukemia. Big sponsored ride. This is doing the full Tour de France. You know, in exactly the
You're
same.
doing the whole Tour de France.
Doing the whole Tour de France with a group of 17 other guys. And exactly the same time frame as the pros, 21 days. Their days are slightly shorter because they're a little bit quicker, but we're doing the full route from start to finish in the same time frame.
And you're trying to raise £1 million for this.
Wow.
So this is ready to play it up. I love the simplicity of this.
I think so.
Yeah.
So this is, all food, I think, all the best food, unless it's 85 degrees and it's a summer day when it's a few sliced tomatoes, a drizzle of olive oil, some rock salt is enough.
Yeah.
You need a little bit of naughtiness in a plate of food to give it a little bit of richness, because that's what makes people happy. That's what makes a tummy happy. And so the hummus is there playing that role. It's the richness. Although it's not particularly, it's super nutritious and delicious. It is this is the kind of the backbone of the dish. And just a nice little. There's a couple of whole beans left in there.
Got it.
Then I'm just going to trim top and tail.
And as well as that, you've got to tell us about this place. It's ski resort. This place is pretty special that you've got as well.
Yeah, but you've hit a bit of a raw nerve there, because we it just closed on Thursday for the last time.
Wow.
And which is a great shame, but it's it means that.
I'm glad you trusted me with that. You haven't even tasted this yet. But
Well, it looks spot on.
Was that all right? Was that good? So just to recap while I'm going there, a little tiny bit of the truffle oil. I've got some of this rapeseed oil, some truffle, and some Parmesan cheese, and some salt and pepper. That's a lovely way. Just warm beans as well to go with it.
Just warm beans is absolutely. Listen, it's not. It's what is this? Starter, main course. Make what you want of it. But it is a bit of warmth is really important. Frigid food, cold food is bland food. That's for sure. Yeah. And a little bit of warmth is great. And then just going to tuck a couple of Jersey Raws on there just for a little bit of substance. Give those one of them.
Well, best of luck with the Tour de France as well, because that is something else.
It is. Well, that is really why I cycle down, because the bottom line is if you don't get an old corpse like this fit, it's going to be painful. So there it is, broad bean hummus with grilled courgette, Jersey Raws, green beans.
By the legend himself, Mr. Phil Howard.
Parmesan.
Bon appetit, ladies.
Oh, lovely.
Enjoy.
Dive into that one. Dive into it.
Bit of luscious spring.
Yeah.
Smells amazing. I'm
I'm
just
gonna
going to
take
go
the
straight
beans
and
and
try
just
some of
stick
this
them in
hummus
there.
first.
Yeah, hummus is. It's funny because hummus is one of those things that
Oh my God.
people consume by the ton. Nice, isn't it? But hummus that you buy in a supermarket is like eating kind of unset concrete. It's so bland and so kind of.
You're so good at that seasoning. The key to that as well is the salt, man. So you've got
Yeah.
It is really important because there's not a lot of. The flavours are muted. It's not like you've made
That's a
sardine
lesson in
puree,
flavours
so,
right there
yeah.
from you.
It's a combination of everything all together as well. There we go. The brilliant Phil Howard, everybody. Good luck on the tour as well. Good luck. Lisa will be trying to top trump that dish a little bit later on the show. You looking worried, yeah?
Oh, just a bit.
And I'll be showing you how to barbecue fish properly in this week's Little Masterclass. But join us again after the break when we got more expert foraging advice from that lady over there, the brilliant Alicia Vasey. See you after the break. How good is that? Now, I'll be chatting some more to Shazney Lewis from All Saints a little bit later, and I'll be giving you a crash course in barbecuing fish in this week's Little Masterclass. But first, I'm here with Lisa and Phil, and we're about to get another lesson in seasonal produce that won't cost you a penny from top forager, Alicia Vasey.
Yay.
Now, you always bring some amazing... You bring sunshine with you as well.
I do.
You do, and
Yeah,
you bring an
much round
amazing...
our end, it was snowing.
It was. We've got some amazing produce over here. I'm going to get some roast fish to go with this, with some mushrooms and some of the stuff over here. So what about this time of the year? Are we in the transition of this time of the year?
I tell you what, we are
plentiful?
full into green season, and it will cost you a penny because you still got to get out there with petrol.
Right.
Right. Okay, so it's proper out there.
Right.
So I tell you what, this is my favourite mushroom. It's St George's mushrooms. So they come out on St George's Day.
Yeah.
And depending where you are in country, it will go full stretch to about second, third week in May.
Yeah.
So you're not doing too bad. They've got a really long season. I tell you what they do. They're quite heavy actually for the size. If you feel weight on those, they're quite chunky monkeys really. All right.
Yeah, they're amazing.
You've used these, haven't you, Lisa?
Yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So they're one of the best ones, and they're quite easy at this time of year because all the nasty ones don't tend to come out till a bit later on. So these are really nice and easy to identify, and also they smell a bit like porridge. All right. They've got that mealy smell.
Right. Okay.
Smells like.
Yeah.
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 Right. Okay.
It's not a dampy sort of smell, but it's just...
No, it's not a swamp,
Yeah.
right?
So where are you getting these from? Are you looking for a particular area? Are
Right,
they
well,
beech trees? Where are these?
It's very strange, right, St George's, because you'll get them in woods, right in the middle of woods. My spot's right in the middle of woods, but you'll also get them in grassland as well, in the green troops. It's better to get them from the grasslands because they're less maggoty than the ones you get from woods.
Right.
All right?
Okay.
So when you get them, you want them to be about this size. They grow really big, actually. But what you need to do when you're doing the mushrooms, it grows in a troop. Pick the first 5, leave the rest so that you'll have some for next year when you get them. And they get really big, so then they'll all spore. So if you just take them, like, at a decent little size... I mean, and they do get to sizes like that.
This is the interesting thing with people foraging for mushrooms. Like you said, you must leave some.
Absolutely.
Don't go in there and clear the site.
Yeah, there's no point, right? Because what's the point of that? Then you'll have nothing for next year. All right, so you just need them to do what you think. And to be fair, the ones that are bigger, they've all been got at. All right, so they're not going to be any good anyway.
Right.
Okay, right.
And is it? Do you preparation of mushrooms? Do you always just brush them? Like I brushed a few of these. Do you wash them? What's the key to our mushrooms?
Well, I don't know. It's just like how much time you got on me. You can just put them in pan.
They're like sponges, aren't they? So they absorb
You
once
know.
you put them in water and then you go...
Yeah.
I tell you what, storing mushrooms, right? If you're storing mushrooms, the best thing to do is have a box with grass, right? Like a bit of rabbit hutch. Because it will keep... You'd rather have a drier mushroom than a wet, manky mushroom. OK?
You're
so
not wrong there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you go in the fridge and you thought they were all right and they've all gone, yeah. But if you put them in hay, they'll last about... They'll probably get another week out of them. There you go.
Right, there we go.
That's mushrooms.
Yeah.
That's mushrooms for you.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's these. Good with lamb. Good with fish.
These have probably got the
Even good
second
on
to
their own,
set,
aren't
right?
they?
These are really good flavour. Right, and if you're going to do like even a bog standard mushroom soup, you don't need many of them because they're quite powerful.
I mean, I do these with devil kidneys at work. These, I just
Oh,
think
nice.
these are amazing. Devil kidneys with St George's mushrooms, just beautiful on toast.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
sounds awful.
Yeah, sounds awful. Right, okay. Moving on. She's good job she's a matey man, isn't she? Not really into comedy. Right, so where are we going then? You've got to go to the next place. Where are we going?
Right, so we're tootling off over to the salt marshes because it's this time of year and everything is just fabulous. Right, when you get to sort of like the end of June, July, all the butterflies come in and they lay eggs on everything and it becomes an absolute pain in the backside to pick anything, right? So what we're on, so we've got quite a variety here, actually, and I just thought they'd go really nice with your fish dish. So we've got sandwort, all right? OK, so we've got sandwort. And it's funny, anything that's got wart on the end of it is actually quite healing. So a lot of the things on the beach, even like if you've got like wound wart and plants with wart on the end, it usually tells you that they've actually got some healing properties. So this was basically your main source of vitamin C, so it stopped you getting scurvy. All your salt marsh plants were really good to stop you getting scurvy, you know, when we didn't have oranges and lemons coming in.
So is this coastal then, is this?
Absolute coastal. So we have got, all over the country, we have got vast areas of salt marshes. All right, I know you've got some down in London as well, right, not too far away.
Some out east.
Yeah, all right. So you've got these wonderful plants, and basically, when you go on these salt marshes, the only thing that's going to do you in is actually drowning, but rest of the plants are fine.
She's got an unusual way with words. But yes,
Don't drown when you pick them.
You might drown, but you won't poison yourself.
Right.
It's a win-win.
So we got that. So
Right.
what do you do? What are you doing with that? What are you
I tell you what,
serving it
you
raw,
can-
or what are you doing with it?
What this is a succulent, right? So you can just pop it in your mouth and just eat it as it is. So you know
Well,
what I'm going
let's
to
pass
do?
it to our
Yeah,
chefs then.
exactly. Yeah,
Come on
we'll
then.
do
There you
that. All right, and you.
And it tastes of what?
Not a lot, really.
There's always a little bit of brininess in a bit.
Nice, though.
It is nice. It's fresh. It does taste like.
Yeah. And it's tender enough.
Yeah,
So it is,
it's tender. It's a succulent,
Yeah.
and it's. I wouldn't say it's like a. You haven't got a really powerful
Not
flavour to
distinct,
it.
is it?
But actually,
Is this what the salt marsh
there's
lamb
a-
would be feeding on? This kind
yeah,
of
yeah. Oh, the salt marsh lamb. I mean, that's why they're so fantastic. I mean, this is what they eat all day long, right? But we have got quite a few different flavours here.
Okay, so what else have we got then? Because
Right.
we're venturing into this one. So what's
Yeah.
next?
Okay, so this one we've got salty fingers here. Again, it's another succulent. So, are you familiar with these ones?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
gonna chuck it over anyway.
That's just a lovely little bit of...
Share that
is
between
a lovely
yourselves.
little nip
These
of salt.
these are amazing. I use these quite a lot as
These
well,
are
just to
nice.
finish off a dish.
Yeah.
Really, that's the thing.
Salads.
Yeah,
But, you know,
that
they
little
certainly don't
burst
want-
of
It's seasoning,
acidity in
isn't
it. Yeah,
It's like
it is.
seasoning,
Yeah.
it's like absolute seasoning.
But really delicate too.
Yeah.
Don't want too much of it. That's the key to it. But it's
Nice
lovely.
little texture on them.
We like texture.
So where are
don't
you?
we? That crunch.
Where are you finding these? These are the little salty fingers that we've got.
Well,
here.
actually, right, so we've got your salt marshes, but really what you need to do as well, along with your salt marshes, is if you've got areas of rock pools and then you've got, like, cliffs, so these are more like cliff-based plants. So you might be salt marshes, then you have your little bit of cliffs, and these tend to go on, because this is what we're going to next, is rock samphire.
Yeah.
All right. So these just grow in like big like bushes all over rocks, and these are quite fabulous as well.
I find this quite strong. I find this quite getting
We're
a
getting
little
stronger.
bit medicinal
We're
for me.
getting stronger.
Needs
We are
kind of
getting-
breaking down, that
Yeah,
one, doesn't it?
yeah, little bit.
Yeah.
You need to cook it a bit.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm going to do in a minute with this one. But yeah.
Yeah.
That must be aniseed.
But it has a kind of quite a complex. It's a bit like.
It's funny,
Fernet
really, isn't
Branca
it? You
or
know,
something.
they
It's like-
grow on a sandbank, and yet they've all got such vast different flavours. And then, all right, Siesta. So that's a bit asparagus-y
Yeah, it's nice.
tasting.
It's a delicate thing. It's
It
nice.
is a delicate thing. I think these could do with a wash, though. I won't foist them on you. Right? We'll just cook with them. That'll get rid of muck, won't it?
A little bit of siesta. This one. What do you do with that?
Oh, look at that.
Little beurre blanc.
So I wouldn't eat these raw. What I would do with those is cook them in a butter emulsion. Just dead simple, a couple of minutes, and that's all you need. They just need wilting, basically. One of the things with the salt marshes is you can either give it a good wash when you get home, eat it raw, or just do a simple butter emulsion and off you go.
And this is what I want to do the bottom emulsion for, because I've never tasted this before. You've never tasted it. I don't know about yourself.
No, I don't think so.
What is this?
Right, this...
And what do I do with it? What bit do I use?
Yeah, so what we'll do, OK, so I'll just line those up, just strip them down like that, cut the ends off. All right. This is fireweed asparagus.
Just use the lot like that?
Yeah. So I tell you what we know this as when it's later on in the year is roseberry willow herb.
Put the whole thing in like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Do you know what roseberry willow herb is? It's the ones when you were a kid, right? And they had like these little purple like flowers on that looked like I don't know, I used to pretend that they were cigarettes when you were a kid, right? Yeah, but they weren't, obviously. but
Can you taste this raw?
yeah.
Right. I've got to ask every time she comes on.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to poison you, not yet anyway.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, you can
So
have it.
so you mentioned the fact that as you go down...
I say these really do taste asparagus-y.
But what have you stripped off the bottom? You stripped off what, the tougher leaves or?
That's really good, isn't it? What have you removed from this?
See, I picked them yesterday outside back of our house, right? Because it's full of brambles. I had to clear the sheep off.
Right.
Right.
All right, stop there.
No, we've got some escapees. We've got 3 round the farm. Right, we've got 3 round
The
the farm.
flavour of that, though, is amazing.
It's really good.
Right.
Honestly, it's just like the best, and it is the simplest, easiest thing to do. If you're going to have a look and you're going to be a keyboard forager, right, have a look up for roseberry willow herb, but go out now because it's just at the shoot stage and the stems are really tender and it's got a lot of flavour in. All right, but at this stage we call it fireside.
How long's it in for? When do you see it kind of disappearing?
All right, so we're about now, and depending... It's like you get that 1 degrees going up the country, OK, where things start sprouting out. Obviously, it's sooner down here, later when you go up north. So up our end, we're on with it now. And it depends if it's sunny or shady, but I think we'll have that growing till about June.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good to me. And then one final thing, you've turned it, because I know you like a little bit of cooking and bringing your own sort of lotions and potions in.
I do like lotions.
So what have you brought in here? Because this is
so we have got some smoked girole oil.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, which basically does what it says on tin. Giroles that have been smoked, made into oil.
So what have you done with the giroles? Have you just have a taste of that one? What have you done with them?
Do you know what the thing is with giroles is like when you get those ones that you're not going to put on your
really nice.
dishes.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Delicate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Smoked girole oil. That is a first.
Is
There
it?
you go.
Yeah, it is.
There you go. So what have you done with the giroles? What do you do
So
with them?
I've got one of these that you've got at home.
Yeah.
All right. So I get all my manky giroles.
Right.
All right. Yeah, we know which
Mankier
ones.
the better.
Well, you know what? Right. The thing is like if you've got stuff that's not like up to spec, you might as well use it somehow because you've still got some flavour there. So just smoke them on a barbecue, basically. Smoke them on barbecue and then just do it like you would do normal oil. Just bring it up to blood temperature, just put it through, and then just
And that's it. And then one final thing while I'm plating up this.
Yeah, and Douglas fir oil. I love Douglas fir. And then at this time of year, when you're starting to get the Sitka tips through as well, and you just got that real citrusy flavour that comes through. That's absolutely fantastic. This is actually older stuff, but again, that's easy. I mean, because like at this time of year, when you're doing your wild garlic oils and then you're doing like your three-cornered leek oils, and oils are just a good thing to have in, aren't they?
That's, again, never tasted that before.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what oils you don't have to use fancy oils. I'm always like vegetable oil.
No, otherwise it masks the flavour.
Exactly. You want something as
Just gotta show
neutral as possible.
Food, you never stop learning in this game as well, and you're one of the ultimate teachers when it comes to this sort of stuff as well.
Thank you.
Alicia Vasey, everybody. Hey. There we have it. I've just created a little cod with some of your mushrooms and a few bits and pieces over the top. Nice little beurre blanc sauce, which you guys get to have a taste of it. So if you want to have a taste of it...
looks absolutely magnificent.
You can have a little taste of it, a little bit of wood-fired fish to go with it, but there we have it. Right, Lisa will be cooking for us a little bit later on in the show. I'll be showing a show-stopping dish of lamb chops, my guest, Shazney Lewis, a little bit later. Right, I'll just get the reaction, see what they think.
Well, it all looks so good.
Better
A little
smell,
beurre
won't
blanc with the mushrooms.
Yeah, well, better smell.
Happy with that.
Bit rubbish, that.
Simple.
Have you done it right?
Done it all right?
You done it right.
Good, all right.
You done it justice.
There we go. Brilliant. There we go. I'll see you after the break. Welcome back. Now we're treating Shazney Lewis from All Saints to a dish of lamb very shortly. And Lisa Goodwin-Allen will be taking over the kitchen duties. That's coming up next. But first, it's time for this week's masterclass. And this week, with the summer on its way, everybody's going to be heading out to the shed to get their barbecues out, dust off the remaining bits of sausage meat from last summer. And I'm going to give you a lesson how to barbecue fish properly, because meat is relatively straightforward, isn't it, really? But I think with fish, most people are a bit frightened to cook with fish on a barbecue. But the essence of it is, first of all, don't overcook it. Make sure the coals are right. And you see you've got those lovely coals, a nice glow on it there, nice white glow like that. And what you don't want is flame for fish, really, because it's quite delicate. But having said that, you can cook a variety of different fish on it. I mean, for all fish you can cook on a barbecue. It's amazing. So let's start off with seafood, really, and fish in a shell. So scallops, they've got the natural casing anyway for this one. So the great thing about this is you can utilise this casing and cook it so simply. So butter, that's all it needs. A little bit of butter. You can put a touch of olive oil on there if you wanted to, but a little bit of butter, like that. And then what I do is just put a few herbs on it. Things like tarragon, fantastic. Just a few little herbs. You can put a little bit of parsley on it if you wanted to, just a touch, like that. Just a few bits. If you wanted to put some hazelnuts on there, that kind of stuff. Some salt and pepper, bit of black pepper, nice pinch of salt. And then utilise the casings. I'm going to put some lemon on once it's cooked. Utilise the casings to cook this. Now, you can either put them straight on the griddle like that. Alternatively, you can put them directly onto the coals, like that, and they'll just sit there nicely. Utilise that shell. So they're cooking away nicely. Meanwhile, back over here with our prawns. Prawns are amazing on a barbecue. What you don't want to do, really, is overcook them. But what you also don't want to do is actually coat them in anything. The prawns just go direct onto the barbecue. That's all you need. exactly as it is, because prawns, most of these prawns that we get nowadays are frozen. And you'll buy from the supermarket, they're already defrosted, but most are frozen. Because of that, they contain tons of moisture, water, and we're going to utilise that water to create steam and cook them in the shells. And by putting them direct onto the barbecue like this, you're going to utilise that steam, but we don't want any fire, because otherwise the fire is just going to burn the shells as well. And you know, when people have cooked them on the barbecue, really, and they're quite difficult to peel, that's generally because you've overcooked them. But you can see, look, what's happening over here already straight away. Within this little shell over here, we can turn these little scallops over. But so simple to do. Just roll them around in the shells like that. These are only going to take no more than a couple of minutes. What's that been in there for? About a minute? No more than that. We then lift these out. Like that. Over there. A little bit of lemon. Just a touch. A lemon juice. And you've got your scallops cooked. Nothing else. You don't need to do anything else with it. That's that one done. Over here, you can see the shrimp cooking away nicely. Now, if I coated these in oil, this is just going to be flames everywhere. But you can see by doing that, they retain the colour, they're going to retain the flavour, but they just don't burn. That's what you want. But what you also want to do with this is be careful you don't overcook them. So really, you're looking at the bigger prawns over here are going to take 3 or 4 minutes, but these ones over here, again, like the scallops, just a couple of minutes. So colour one side, colour the other side, and then take them off. Like that. So that's that one. The shrimp, yeah, it looks like that. Look at that. It's like been in Spain. Look at this. Nice and simple. Really, really easy. Don't put any oil on it whatsoever. Unlike what we're going to do with this next one. This is monkfish. Now, I'm going to cook this on skewers. So with a monkfish like this, it's a brilliant fish to cook on the barbecue because it's lovely and meaty. But that sits in our little tray like this and pop them into sort of little pieces. Now, you can cook monkfish as a whole tail, which is wonderful, like that, but just pop them in here. And what I do with this one is use, a rough mixture. What we're going to serve as a little sauce. I use a little bit of coriander seed. You can use a little bit of garlic, and you can actually just sit this in a tray and use it for everything. So you've got coriander seed, you've got some lemon, squeeze that over the top, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, sits in there, and salt and pepper. And you can utilise that mixture of just a few ingredients, the oil, the lemon, and the coriander seed, just for any fish like this, and just roll it around, and you can allow that to sit in there like that. And when you skewer it up, which I'm going to do, it's obviously 2 main skewers. This one, which is a round one, I like to use the flat ones over here because it's much easier to put them on the barbecue. I'm just going to take these little shrimp off now because these are ready. They're done. And remember, you can see the steam. Look at the steam that's happening over here. These will continue to cook when you take them off the barbecue. So as they start to bubble, I think you can just see that on that one. Once they bubble, that's a good cue to take them off. And look at the steam that's happening over here. Remember I mentioned the water? All that water is going to create the steam that then cooks our shrimp. But that's that one done. Really easy, no oil on that one. Same thing with the larger shrimp that we've got over here. Probably cook those for another minute because they're a bit bigger. But we can then concentrate on our monkfish. So skewer this up. Straight through. Straight through. And another one like that. And then I put the monkfish direct over the coals like that. And you see, by using a flat skewer like this, you can actually turn the fish over better. Otherwise, if you round one, it kind of rolls itself around the skewer all the time. But you just leave that cooking away nicely. That's that one. So we just leave that to one side. Meanwhile, over here, a few more bits of fish to go. I'm going to do an en papillote one now. I'm just going to take that one off. So just put them in the front so you can see that. Look at those. You see, look at the steam that's coming off that as well. That's all that lovely moisture in there. Then we have that one. Really, really simple to cook fish on a barbecue like that. And with this, you've got much more manoeuvrability with it, with a flat skewer like this. So look out for these from shops as well. They're really, really good, rather than the round ones, which kind of the food rolls around itself. So another one, if you're a little bit concerned with fish and it's quite delicate, things like cod and hake, that kind of thing, haddock, you can cook it on papillote. Now, you're not going to get the flavour of the barbecue, for sure, but you are going to get to cook outside on the barbecue. And the great thing with this, it keeps it lovely and moist. That's what you want. So you can take your nice little bit of mackerel, like this. I've got some beautiful fillets of mackerel. And we can just pop these on here. So this you can do with any fish, any shrimp, anything else like that. Really, really simple. And for this, all I would do is just take some lemon. And you want some sort of pieces of lemon, not too fancy, but just a couple of pieces of lemon. Some lovely herbs. Again, a little bit of tarragon. Touch of parsley in there, over the top. Salt and pepper, like that. And you can either use water, it's entirely up to you, or wine, or even just oil. And you can put a little bit of vegetable oil in there. And then simply just to wrap it up, you're creating a little parcel. You can put things like tomatoes and bits and pieces in if you want. Little parcel, just fold that over on there, like that. Nothing too fancy, and just put it straight on the barbecue. This is going to take probably no more than a couple of minutes. So moving on just to the final one now, where we're going to take our beautiful mackerel over here. And this I learnt in Spain, to be honest with you. And I learnt this trick. Just let me get this. I'm actually just going to change that and put that over there. I'm going to put that one on there. Lose that. Move this across a little bit. Because I'm actually going to cook mackerel, or rather whole mackerel, on the griddle. And this is fantastic. It's a great tip that I learned in Spain. It's brilliant, but whole mackerel on the barbecue is amazing. So we're just going to take our whole mackerel like this, like that. And mackerel is absolutely amazing on a barbecue. It really, really is. But that's going to go in there. Again, some salt and pepper, like that. Some black pepper. But this is the key. This is this spray. This contains 1 part vinegar, just white wine vinegar, and 5 parts extra virgin olive oil. And you shake it up like that. So you get this emulsification in there. And what you do is you spray it over the fish. Like that. So spray it over, turn this over, and then really lock this up. There we go. So it's all nice and secure in here. Now you spray the other side, like that. And then you pop this straight on the barbecue, as it is. Now, the great thing about these is that you can turn it over a lot easier with one of these. But with mackerel like this, it's only going to take probably a couple of minutes to cook. You see the lovely bit of monkfish there. While that's happening, I'm going to create a wonderful little sauce with this. It's called a little sauce vierge. It's really, really simple. It goes well with anything, really, what we've got over here, mackerel and monkfish and that kind of stuff. I've got some coriander seeds. Just lightly toast the coriander seeds in the pan. We'll take a little bit of garlic, some extra virgin olive oil. And the sauce is based on extra virgin olive oil, that and lemon. Lemon juice, lemon zest. So a good amount. Think of this like a warm dressing, really. But you've got the lemon juice, lemon zest. You've got the coriander seeds. We've got a few herbs. You can use things like tarragon. We've got a little bit of parsley. Stay away from herbs like thyme, sage, that kind of stuff. It's too strong. Rosemary, that kind of thing. Just use like soft herbs, which you've got in here. So all you're doing is warming up this little dressing as well. You can add little things like tomatoes if you wanted to as well. So just take some beautiful tomatoes, which is, again, bang in season right now, aren't they? These wonderful little Tommies. They're just going to go in the little dressing. We warm it up, and that's it. It's really done. This fish is about another 30 seconds away. You take your lovely monkfish out. We've got it on the skewer like that. And you can take your amazing little dressing and just drizzle this over the top. And there we have it. I mean, it's just so, so simple. Super, super tasty. Looks delicious. Tastes delicious as well. That's another one. I'll slide that across there. So that's another finished one. This one is finished as well. We can just lift this out now. And if we lift this out and open it up, look. It's all steamed. It's all lovely and cooked. you've got en papillote as well, which leaves us a final one, really, which is this one. And this is where you can really concentrate on this. You can see it looks amazing. And with this, you've got a combination of so many different dressings. You could use the little Viege that I've done over here, or you can use this. I love this with mackerel, particularly on a barbecue. This is called the little ponzu, yuzu ponzu. It sounds really complicated. It's a little bit of soy sauce, really. And you buy in the supermarket now, you can actually get yuzu juice, which is like a cross between it's like a fragrant satsuma, a mandarin, lime, combination of all that. It's an amazing fruit. But this is one that's already been mixed, and you can take that. So look out for it from the supermarket. It's called yuzu, which you take yuzu juice and soy, or you buy yuzu ponzu, which is a combination of several ingredients, but fundamentally those two. And you've got a nice little dressing over there. You need nothing else over this as well. And then, of course, with your fish, we can then just ease it off a little bit. This mixture should stop it sticking fully. There you go, look. Beautiful. Look at that. On the barbecue like that. You know, fish shouldn't have to be too complicated on the barbecue. The key to this is its simplicity, and this is what, you know, I learnt particularly in Spain, this great trick with the vinegar, the oil. Sometimes they put a few aromats in there as well, but look at that. You can cook sardines like this, anchovies like this. It's absolutely beautiful. And then, I didn't learn this in Spain, but you take this amazing yuzu ponzu over the top, and it creates this wonderful little dressing. Really simple. A little bit of oil with it as well. And a few little bits of coriander if you need to. But there we have it. Barbecuing fish doesn't have to be complicated. It can taste amazing, look amazing, and it can be really, really simple. Easy as that. Now, if there's anything you'd like to learn about a little Marscas, then do get in touch with me, see if we can help out right here on the show. Time now for a quick break. We're joining again in a couple of minutes when Chef Lisa Goodwin-Allen will be here with a recipe for honey and rhubarb panna cotta. See you in a bit. Welcome back. Now, I'll be making a sensational dish of stuffed lamb chops for my guest Shazney Lewis very shortly. But first, I'm here with Phil, and we're about to sample a dessert from a chef who's been at the helm of Lancashire's legendary Northcote restaurant for more than 20 years. It's the brilliant Lisa Goodwin-Allen. Great to have you on the show. Now, we're looking forward to this dessert.
Absolutely.
So what are you going to be making for us then?
Right, so I'm going to make a little honey panna cotta with rhubarb and a little bit of fennel pollen as well. Okay. So something quite classic, but hopefully quite tasty, and using something that's really seasonal.
Sounds pretty good then. So I know you're going to fire away with the panna cotta. You want me to start doing the twirl?
Yeah,
so just mix all these ingredients together?
That's it, yeah. So this is a buckwheat twirl that we're putting with it. So it's gluten-free, so you've got buckwheat, icing sugar, some egg whites, and then whisk them all together and you make like a lovely little paste with it.
That's what I'm going to do. So anyway, I'll let you get on and do the panna cotta first. So
absolutely.
First of all, what? You put in half the...
Yeah, so I've got half the cream, the milk, vanilla and some honey into the pan. And you just, we're just going to warm it through so then we can add the gelatine into it. And then we've got half of the cream that we'll put in after when it's cooled down. Right. So basically the reason why we put it in when it's cooled down is so that when the cream goes in, the vanilla starts setting all over, as opposed to if you pour it in hot into your mould, the vanilla all set into the bottom of the...
It sinks?
Yeah, it sinks into the bottom.
Those heavy little seeds.
Yeah, this is it.
There's a method to the madness.
There is a little bit of method there.
Right, great looking rhubarb.
It is amazing, isn't it, really?
It's one of the best ingredients. In the annual cycle of seasons and ingredients, rhubarb is one of the standout ingredients. Kind of you're just buried in the middle of winter and all of a sudden this thing arrives that's just got so much flavour.
Chefs get excited about it because it's the first wave coming in, then you've got the asparagus, you've got the Jersey
rolls.
It is. Then it starts to then...
It's rhubarb is the first, then I kind of think of blood oranges, then the first green shoot is the wild garlic, which is here.
Yeah. And then starts to come the gooseberries, kind of that, like kind of June time. And
then all hell lets loose. But it is... rhubarb is the first.
Yeah, so this is your twirl.
That's the twirl, mixed together
You
there.
didn't trust me, so you brought one down from North.
I didn't know whether you knew how to do one. So I've got the gelatin here that I've just been soaking on the ice, so it's all friable. So once it's come up to heat, I just put the gelatin in. And then usually what we do is just leave that, or you can put it over a bowl of ice just to cool it down
Now, I mentioned Northcote. I've got to mention you're expanding a little. Is it expanding or just changing the inside of where you are at the moment?
So it's expanding. So we've just got planning permission through, and basically that'll be for another restaurant on the lawn. So that'll be a 48 cover kind of fine dining restaurant, and then the bigger restaurant now will make that into a brasserie. On site eventually, which
That's
is good.
really significant change. I mean, it's been the same format for what, 30 years?
Yeah,
More?
I mean, was it about 12 years ago we got the kitchen expanded, we got more
To be
rooms.
fair, you needed that kitchen though, didn't you, really?
Yeah.
They did need that.
I mean, you must have done Obsession as well.
I've done Obsession from year one.
Yeah, you did. We had some,
but it was great.
Interesting times, wasn't it?
I don't kind of get off on kitchens. It's not, you know, I need gear that I can work with, but I'm not one of those people who...
That needs the latest gadget. And all that kind of
absolutely
stuff,
not. But I have to say, when the new kitchen came along, I did leave there with some serious kitchen envy.
It does make you a bit jealous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's space. It's having the right gear and space
that's
is a luxury.
And we mentioned the fact that you've gone sort of that you're going that sort of brasserie route as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of what you've done in terms of your career. So your career was, fine dining. That's where it was. And now with Ellison Street, you've just stripped it back.
Turned it right down. And if I was to close Ellison Street and open another, which is not currently the plan, I would.
That's what he says now.
I would update it again, because I think the reality is that. Listen, my perspective is London, and the London market is what it is, and people want to have a good time eating great food, and so the formality on the whole is gone.
Well, you've seen the whole way through. Anyway,
That's
what have
it.
we got in here? What have you
Okay,
sneaked in there?
This is it. So basically with the rhubarb, we're going to make kind of like a rhubarb cordial. So you've got rhubarb, a little bit of lemon, some orange and some grenadine in there, so a little bit of sweetness as well. We put it into a pan and bring it up to the boil, and then the best tip to do is to put a lid on it or cling film it and leave it for about half an hour to an hour. And what it does, it just pulls out all the juices from the rhubarb once that's boiled, and you end up with this, which is here. So it's kind of like a concentrated liquid, but it smacks you in the face of rhubarb, pulls out all the flavour. So half of it we take and we pour it into the container, pop into the freezer. Every half an hour, just agitate it with a fork. It just turns to an ice. And it's a great way if you can't do ice creams and stuff at home.
So technically we've got one in here, have we?
That's it, yeah.
It's grown. Even the tray's grown in here. That's that one. And then what have you got in here then? Because this is just to finish it all off.
Yeah, so we've got just some rhubarb that we've chopped up, and I've just put a little bit of icing sugar on it. So you've got a real lovely texture of the rhubarb and still that acidity, but just sweeten it up a little bit. You've got some fennel pollen here, which I just think is lovely. Is that like a little kick of aniseed? Yeah. And then the honey was just what we popped into the... into the panna cotta.
And then these little ones, these take about a good sort of eight minutes. Like
8 to 10 minutes on 180.
And then this is what you end up with, is these amazing little honeycomb twirl things there.
So
there you go.
We've got the panna cottas here.
So you've still got the amazing garden there. You're not nicking a bit of that space, are you, as well?
Oh, we are nicking a bit of that space.
Are you? Because you had that amazing veg garden as well.
Yeah, we did. I mean, half of it actually got destroyed a little bit when we put the last foundation in of the... So we didn't rebuild it back again as much because we're obviously going to put the new restaurant on there, but there will be a walled garden. The thing about it now is because Northcote's quite big, with the garden that we've got, we could do like 1 or 2 services and we won't have any of them.
It's turned into sort of the northern version of the Lancashire version of sort of the Le Manoir.
That's it, yeah.
It's a serious setup. I mean, it is a serious setup. But I think in the end, you're right. You either do the walk, you either need a farm.
That's
if you've got 2 busy restaurants, you can't have some.
And the thing,
or it's dishonest to insinuate that the little cutesy garden out the front is actually going to produce everything.
And up and down kind of the northwest, and even in the British Isles, we've got some amazing people that are rearing produce, growing produce. So we kind of use those to their.
So the secret, I think, with panna cotta as well, don't you think, is try and put less gelatine than you think.
That's it, yeah. And I know what you're going to do next.
What's that?
What everyone does with a panna cotta, and it shake the plate so there's a wobble.
But do you know what? Because it's interesting when you look at old recipe books, because people take an old recipe book and look at it and go, I'm going to do that. gelatine's changed in size and shape, so that you've got to be careful with that when you use gelatine as well.
Yeah, you have, yeah.
But equally, it doesn't want to be so delicate. Sometimes people think I've got to strip out so much of the gelatin that it's just...
It loses its
Yeah,
characteristics.
it's a set thing. You know, the jelly. You know, I've got the sweetest tooth in town, and I love this kind of thing. And if the mouthfeel of a set thing, a panna cotta, is really important.
Right. So what do you?
So we just put a little bit of this kind of macerated rhubarb around here.
Yeah.
And they're like so.
And of course, I've got to mention Obsession because both of us have done it.
Yeah.
Still going to go strong for next year as well?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, next year is 25 years.
Is it 25?
Yeah.
Is that going to be even bigger then this
Probably,
time?
yeah. Might be even be giving you both a phone
chefs.
call, to be honest with you. So
I can't wait till all the chefs start pulling in these favours back again.
Yeah,
You're going to be busy.
Make sure you make sure you answer it when I ring, please.
Lisa, who? What?
Yeah. So we've got the tuile that sits on the top like this, and what we're going to do is just drizzle a little bit of honey as well on top of that.
And these you just change colour.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and they're nice and they're gluten free as well. Give a really nice kind of snap to it. So just drizzle a little bit of honey onto it.
So does that mean have you got your own bees up there? You did have last time.
Yeah, we did have. Yeah, we haven't got them anymore. So a little bit of the.
We've got them at our place. It's amazing how much work you've got.
Yeah, bees are an investment.
Yeah.
They're a proper investment.
It's labour of love, isn't
but
it?
It is a labour of love. And a responsibility, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then all we're going to do is put a little bit of this ice on the top. Like so.
A bit of granita. I haven't had a bit of granita in ages.
Oh, I love it.
And then what is this in here?
So that's just a little bit of dill oil. So just to cover the aniseed through, we'll just pop a little bit on top.
Super fresh flavours.
Look at that. It's like you're on Great British Menu all again.
No.
And you just happen to have a judge next to you as well. So give us the name of this dish.
Yeah. So this is a little honey panna cotta with rhubarb and a little fennel pollen.
How amazing does that look? Easy as that. Lisa Allen, everybody. Yeah. Right, bon appetit. Dive into that one.
Look at that.
You can't be nervous at this, can you? Come on.
You take kidding me, look.
I'll send it back if it's not set properly. It's great. It's great.
It's really great.
It's not something I ever order on a menu because it is a bit of a high risk thing because it can be.
Can be thrown against the wall.
They can be one-dimensional. They can be too set. They can, but when it's good, it's one of life's great puds.
There you go. He's cooked for you. You cooked for him. Now relax. Lisa Goodwin Allen, everybody. How good was that? Right, we've still got time for one more final course. So join us again after the break. I'll be roasting up a show-stopping dish of lamb chops for my guest Shazney Lewis. See you in a bit. Welcome back now to the last part of the show, sadly. But I'm back in the kitchen with a naval assistant, Mr. Phil Howard, Alicia, Lisa, and of course my brilliant guest, Shazney Lewis. And I thought for this one, I thought I'd bring a trip down memory lane, because I'm stood next to you, really, and we're going to talk about how we nearly met earlier on in my career, but I'm going to talk about the first dish that I ever did with a chef on a Saturday morning show was the late, great Carluccio, and he did grilled lamb chops, and I thought, this is an amazing seasonal thing, but he did grilled lamb chops with Fontina cheese. And I'm going to stuff it with the Fontina cheese and grill them. And my assistant over here is going to do this amazing little medley of veg and make me look really, really good. and I'm going to chop up a few bits of herbs to go with it. But we've got our beautiful little lamb chops over here that I'm just basically going to stuff with a little bit of the cheese. Meanwhile, you're going to then chop this over here. Now, we've got fellow groupies by the side of you over here. You've been joined by more people because, I mean, you... Ladies, you must remember this. I mean, the iconic songs that this lady wrote.
Oh, yeah, God, yeah, Holiday.
Yeah, we've just been reminiscing.
Yeah, you were just telling me about... What were you telling me about?
Holiday, road, cocktail,
right.
listening, you know, it's just got the vibe. It's just got the vibe.
What are you most proud about in terms of... Is there a song where you go, yeah, that was the one, that was... It's not necessarily the paycheck that goes with it, but what is the one that you thought, this is I've got it, this one? Or is there such a thing?
No, not really. I mean, I probably look back now on songs like Pure Shores and Never Ever and think, you know, especially when you do them at shows and you realise that everybody's been on a journey with them, the nostalgia of those two songs. And, yeah, I appreciate probably those two songs the most.
Because songs bring back memories. We played a little bit earlier, a clip from All Saints as well, but they always evoke memories from your childhood, where you were growing up, where you were. You know, the music's got an amazing... It's kind of like food, but similar. But, you know, music's got this amazing power to sort of bring back so many memories. When you're writing a new album or you're writing new songs, do you go backwards or do you just look to the future with stuff? Or is it relevant now?
Probably a bit of both, really. It just depends. It depends on what the vibe is on that day, whether I feel like going backwards or...
Isn't the youngsters are saying, you know, Mum, you should have put more rappers on it or stuff like that? Is that the case?
My son is always telling me about things that I should be doing to be up to speed with his generation. So he's...
I suppose that gives... You've also got the opportunity to do that if you want to. And what's your response to that, really?
What is my response? I probably just usually make a sad face, and then he gives me a hug, and you know.
And then make him work for free on videos.
You make him work for free on the video, yeah.
And what's that like? Bringing out your own album's one thing, but having your own record label and doing that, I mean, that's even more added pressure, isn't it? Or
it doesn't feel like it. No, it doesn't feel like pressure. I've just been able to make the record without sort of anybody pointing me in any specific direction, and it just feels like there's a lot more freedom. I mean, it's very common now. It's not nuanced. There's lots of people. It's the way that music is now. Lots of people are kind of just releasing music on their own terms, their own platforms.
Because it's changed massively. We talked about how the industry's changed massively as well. Now a lot of bands and a lot of people are having to tour now to, before it used to be sell records and stuff like that. Now it's streaming, it's everything else. We mentioned that fact earlier. People are going to be listening to this going, you got your new album, this is it. We failed to mention the name, so give us the...
Pages.
Pages. Why was it called Pages?
It was just really where I'm at now after 20 years of growth and experiences. The first album was called Open, and at that time I thought I was an open book, and actually realised I feel like 20 years I've actually filled a lot of the pages to that book, so yeah.
Where do you get your inspiration from when you're creating like your music? Like we look into different things with food, like ingredients led, seasonally. What do
Nick
you
Chef's
read on there?
recipes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we definitely Nick his recipes. what pulls the inspiration in for you?
Pretty much anything. I suppose. Just how I'm feeling on that day.
Life.
Yeah, life.
And what about All Saints? Is that because bands come and go? I suppose the door is ever closed. Is it? Or is it something that chapter in your time and you just go, I've done that?
I think when I made this record, I knew that I wanted to go on a new journey, experience new experiences. And when you're in a band, it's such a particular thing that what I found actually was that whilst being in that particular thing, it didn't allow me to kind of look outside at other experiences that I could be having. And so what I did once I made this record was decide that I wanted to try new things, and I had to step outside of that protective bubble of being in a band to force myself to do so.
Out of the comfort zone. Expose.
Yeah, but it's just more about being on my own has sort of pushed me to be more daring and doing other experiences.
Because dare I say, a lot of the bands back then, were some of it was manufactured.
Yeah.
I didn't realise the amount of stuff you write. I mean, it was perfect for you. It's just, and even now, but back then, you were writing some of the most famous tracks that people remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you just go, yeah.
Yeah.
So modest about
Do you know?
it,
Yeah. I mean, I hadn't really thought about it, but yeah.
It does. Is there one where you think this is the best one I've done, or are you just because I think with musicians they're striving perfection. It's like food; you'll never perfect it.
Yeah.
You just strive to.
But they're dishes that you think, oh, that was a good one, or what is it? We talk about it in food about signature dishes that you associate with Lisa or with me, or and you don't have a dish that you would say is a song that you would say is your signature song or something that is your favourite, or
No, I love them all for different reasons.
Really?
From where I was probably at that time writing it, and
It's been a pleasure having you here for today as well. I know the girls have been very happy as well. Look at that.
Yeah,
over here.
absolutely.
Thank you.
We're happy just cooking as well, just over here,
Look at
just
that,
having
beautiful.
a chat. Look at this beautiful veg.
Yeah, get the chaps cooking.
Look at the chaps.
Yeah, get the chaps cooking. They're washing up as well.
I noticed you said they're washing up, yeah. So, look at this. You just cooked this, a little bit of the water from the potatoes?
The water from the potatoes is the stock, which I use a lot, actually.
Yeah. And then we've got our grilled lamb chops. Look at this.
Wow.
With the cheese that's oozing out of the side of it, which we can lift off that. Look at this.
Wow,
This is just sticky cheese.
Oh, God, look at that. That's the food of the gods.
With the cheese as well. I'll put that on there because that's me and you eating that one. And then a little dollop of this, really. And I love that you mentioned the fact that when you hand chop this, you just hand chop it. It's just super, super tasty.
And it's so different to make it in a machine. And what's so nice about that is you've got all the delicate flavours of spring, and then you've got the lamb, and then you've just got this big, bold,
Banger
punchy,
flavour, yeah.
big, bold banger flavour. Yeah.
Well, there we have it. Not a bad dish. Cooked by not a bad chef.
I'd have a bit of that.
There you go. Bon appetit. Done. Well, bon appetit, ladies.
Wow.
There you
Thank
go.
you very much.
Enjoy.
Oh, that looks nice.
There's your knives and forks there.
Thank you very much.
Me and Dee have got the tray, if that's all right.
Fine seasonal fare.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Right,
A
I
little bit
have
out
to
of that.
just
Little bit of sauce if you
sort
want to
of
dip it in.
nudge this way a bit.
That.
Oh yeah, look at that.
With that.
Beautiful.
With that. 35 quid?
3-star dish, right there.
Lovely, that, isn't it? Happy?
Beautiful.
We've got ooms over there. We're happy. That's it. That's all we've got time for today. A massive thank you to all my guests. The brilliant Phil, Lisa, Alicia, and, of course, the fabulous Chesney Lewis. The album's out now. See you back at the same time next Saturday when we have recipes from chefs Paul Ainsworth, John Hooker, Mark Birchall, and motorcycling legend John McGuinness is in the house. And he'll be in the kitchen all day with the brilliant Jenny Faulkner. Until then, take care. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Ramona's Heavenly Hummus sponsors James Martin's Saturday morning.
Hello, darlings. Aunt Helga. Futuristic scooters, old school website. Relax. Web upgrades, I own them. Better design, e-commerce, and smart AI. Now you're fit for the future. I scoot off now. Your digital partner, Ionos.